Let's talk about the impact of diet on inflammation. And there's a new concept out there, at least new to me, and that is the concept of neuro-inflammatory disease. And neuroinflammatory diseases include periodontal disease, diabetes mellitus, cardiovascular disease, rheumatoid arthritis, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, as well as multiple sclerosis. And some of the foods promote inflammation while others reduce inflammation. And this is an article that I would suggest that you look at. It's a recent article in January of 2018, which gives you a good overview on this. So what we want to talk about today is what I refer to as Inflammation 101, or the basic concept. So what we're going to do, there are certain biomarkers that indicate levels of inflammation, and these include C-reactive proteins and the cytokines. The cytokines include things like tumor necrosis factor alpha, interleukin 1, interleukin 6, and interleukin 8. And these have been shown to have the ability to initiate bone loss in periodontal disease and damage tissues in chronic inflammatory periodontal disease. Antioxidants are substances that can reverse the damaging effects of oxidation. And I want to emphasize the word reverse, so we can see what a strong impact that diet can have, along with perhaps other lifestyle changes. So what are some of the examples of antioxidant sources? Vitamin A, C, and E, green tea, red wine, and coffee. For those that like to have a little nip before dinner, certainly you're liking to see the word red wine on there. But contrast that with examples of food that can trigger or promote inflammation. These are the bad boys: refined carbohydrates, refined sugars, saturated fat, trans fat, most omega-6 fatty acids, some types of alcohol, red meat, and processed meat such as salami, bologna, and so forth. Now contrast that with omega-3 fatty acids, which stimulate antibody formation and increase C-reactive protein levels. These are the good boys. Now let's look at the good boy. These are anti-inflammatory foods which contain vitamin C, D, and E, and these are noted for their anti-inflammatory properties. Fruits and vegetables generally have an anti-inflammatory property as well. Examples of anti-inflammatory foods include cod liver oil. And I can remember as a young man, or as a young boy rather, my mother giving me cod liver oil every day. She was way ahead of her time. So not only cod liver oil, but carrots, sweet potatoes, fish, eggs, milk, poultry, and pork, olive oil. Now when we talk about pork, we're talking about lean white pork. How do I get my anti-inflammatory foods? Now, I'm a diabetic, having had diabetes since 1991, which I was in my early 50s. So I modify and get mine by using a device we see here, which can be bought online for about $120 to $150. You can buy that on Amazon. And recently I noted that it was also available at Costco. So I make smoothies on this, and they can include things like pomegranate juice, V8 juice, milk, spinach or kale, egg whites, walnuts or other nuts, limes, oranges, apples, bananas, tomatoes, and carrots. Personally, I get most of my anti-inflammatory products through a green smoothie, which I mix up about every other day. And I always start, and I happen to get this at Costco, you can get it anywhere you want. This is 16 ounces. And basically what I do, I reach in and get 2 big handfuls, and I put it in this particular container. In that, I'll pour about 1.5 cups of milk, and then I'll spin that down. And then I will add, depending on the size, 2 carrots or 3 carrots if they're small. I'll add 2 tomatoes and a fistful of walnuts. I happen to like walnuts. Now, I use milk in there most of the time, but certainly you can use any other liquid that you want. For instance, men concerned with prostate health may want to put some pomegranate juice in there. Also, you might use some salt-free V8 juice or orange juice or anything like that. And certainly if you're going to mix this up for your children, they should be involved in mixing this up and selecting the things that they like to go in there. Orange juice, things of that nature. But what I do, I spin this down. It's got about 1.5 cups of liquid. And then I mix up what will be about 2 days worth and put it in a large jar like this. Now I'm supposed to have, 6 feedings a day as a diabetic. And so what I do is I have about an 8-ounce glass of that in the morning. Then in mid-morning I'll have about 4 ounces. Then in mid-afternoon I'll have about 4 ounces. And that will pretty well use one of these bottles. And mixing it up as I have already described for you, usually I'll get 2 jars this size, which will last me for 2 days. So that's what I do on that. But what I want to emphasize to you is use your imagination on that. Don't necessarily do what I do. This is a dynamic process. Let the children select what they want and develop good anti-inflammatory properties of diet at an early age. Thank you very much.